Yeah, welcome back to jet transformation part 2. In part 1, we have studied the definition of jet transformation, existence of jet transformation, and we saw some important jet transformation of special sequences. Today we will study the properties of jet transformation. So let's start. Properties of jet transformation. First property I am going to study, that is linear property. So let Fn and Zn be two sequences such that Z transformation of Fn is f of z, and Z transformation of Gn sequence is g of z, with regions of convergence mod z greater than 1 over r1. R1 is a radius of convergence for f1 sequence, and mod z greater than 1 over r2 respectively. Then for any constants alpha and beta, Z transformation of alpha Fn plus minus beta Gn, it will be again a sequence. Addition of two sequences is a sequence, again a new sequence, and if you multiply with some constant, it will become sequence only. So Fn is sequence, then alpha into Fn will be a sequence, beta into Gn will be another sequence. If you add or subtract, you will get ultimately a new sequence. Then it is equal to alpha Z transformation of Fn sequence plus minus beta Z transformation of Gn sequence. Or we can write it alpha f of z plus minus beta g of z. For all z, now the radius of convergence going to be changed with radius r. R is the radius of convergence for this sequence, where r is the max of 1 over r1 comma 1 over r2, where 1 over r is max of 1 over r1 comma 1 over r2. So this is your linear property. Now we have a remark regarding this. If we take the inverse jet transformation of alpha fz plus minus beta gz, it will be equal to alpha z inverse of fz plus minus beta z inverse of gz. It will be equal to alpha fn sequence plus minus beta gn sequence. So this is the inverse jet transformation here. Now, using the linear property, I am going to solve a very important example. Find jet transform of A part is cos n theta and B part is sin n theta. We know that cos n theta and sin n theta are presented in e to the power I theta, because Euler's told exponential function can represent cosine and sine function here. Now, we know that e to the power I alpha is nothing else cos alpha plus I sin alpha. So if you put alpha equals to n theta, it will become cos n theta plus iota sin n theta. You remember part 1 lecture, I told you the jet transformation of e to the power NA is equal to Z over Z minus e to the power A. If you remember, I discussed this Z transformation. E to the power NA Z transformation was Z over Z minus A. Now if you take the Z transformation here, both the side, you will get Z cos n theta plus iota sin n theta is equal to, now if you compare with this result, you can see that in place of A we have iota theta. So it will become Z over Z minus e to the power I theta, because if you compare NA with I n theta, then A will be I theta. For solving it, we have to separate real and imaginary part. E to the power I theta, you can write cos theta plus I sin theta. I am separating real and imaginary part. It will be equal to Z minus cos theta minus iota sin theta. Use the linear property here. Here constants are 1 and I. If you use, it will become Z of cos n theta plus iota Z of sin n theta. If you use the conjugate, complex conjugate here, then you have to multiply with Z minus cos theta plus I sin theta in the numerator and denominator both. Then denominator will become Z minus cos theta whole square plus sin square theta, because I square will be minus 1. Always remember, complex conjugate of e to the power I theta is e to the power minus I theta. You have to just replace by I by with minus I in the complex conjugate. So it will become Z cos n theta plus iota Z of sin n theta is equal to Z multiply Z minus cos theta plus I into Z sin theta over, if you expand Z minus cos theta whole square, then Z square plus cos square theta minus 2Z cos theta plus sin square theta. Cos square theta plus sin square theta is 1. So Z cos n theta plus iota Z sin n theta. Now separate the real and imaginary part. Z minus cos theta over Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1 plus iota Z sin theta over Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1. Compare real and imaginary part. Compare real and imaginary parts. So we will get the Z transformation of cos n theta is Z minus cos theta over Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1, and Z transform of sin n theta is equal to Z sin theta over Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1. Or we can write Z inverse of Z minus cos theta upon Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1 equal to cos n theta, and similarly Z inverse of Z sin theta over Z square minus 2Z cos theta plus 1 is equal to sin n theta. So these are very important results. We have another example as a homework for all of you. Find Z transform of, first part is cos hyperbolic n theta and second is sin hyperbolic n theta. I am giving you a hint here. Cos hyperbolic alpha is e to the power alpha plus e to the power minus alpha by 2. So if you put alpha equals to n theta, it will become e to the power n theta plus e to the power minus n theta by 2. Take the Z transformation both the side. Cos hyperbolic n theta 1 by 2 you can take outside. Z of e to the power n theta plus Z of e to the power minus n theta. Now use the property I told you previously, this property, then you will get this is equal to Z over z minus e to the power theta plus z over z minus e to the power minus theta. Now you simplify it, you will get this is equal to z minus cos hyperbolic theta over z square minus 2z cos hyperbolic theta plus 1. So it is very similar to z cos n theta. Only difference is here it is cos theta, but in the hyperbolic it is cos hyperbolic theta and cos hyperbolic theta. Similarly, sine hyperbolic alpha is equal to 1 over 2 e to the power alpha minus e to the power minus alpha. So sine hyperbolic n theta is 1 over 2 e to the power n theta minus e to the power minus n theta. Now if you take the jet transformation, similarly you can solve that sine hyperbolic n theta is equal to z sine hyperbolic theta over z square minus 2z cos hyperbolic theta plus 1 plus 1. Third, I'm going to solve some more problems related to Z inverse or inverse Z transformation. This is very important problem. Find inverse Z transform of, first I'm going to solve here A part, Z over Z plus 2, Z plus 3. Remember, we know that Z transform of A to the power n is Z over Z minus A. Ultimately, you want Z in the numerator. Z in the numerator. So always try to factorize Fz by Z. Always try to break the partial fraction of Fz by Z. Means what I'm saying here? Let this is equal to Z, Z plus 2, take Z outside, Z plus 3. Or you can write, or you suppose Fz by Z, you take Z in the left hand side and remaining part in the right hand side, Z plus 2, Z plus 3. So if you call it as Fz, because we want the inverse transformation of Fz, I told you the Z of Fn sequence is Fz, then the Z inverse of Fz will be the Fn sequence only. Now, so I am taking Fz by Z because we can send Z in the right hand side, so we will get Z in the numerator always, because it is always important to keep Z in the numerator because it is presented in every formula. Now break the partial fraction of this remaining factors, 1 over Z plus 2 plus B over 1 over Z plus 3. So it will be Fz over Z equal to, if you break the partial fraction, it will be 1 over Z plus 2 minus 1 over Z plus 3. I am giving you this as assignment. This is very simple partial fraction. Now you send Z in the right hand side, it will become Z over Z plus 2 over Z over Z plus 3. This is a very good trick. This is very good trick, important trick. Take inverse Z transform both sides. We will get Z inverse of Fz equal to Z. Use the linear property. Z over Z plus 2 minus Z inverse of Z over Z plus 3. So it will be Fn sequence, or Fn is equal to, now what will be this? If you compare with this, A is minus 2. So minus 2 to the power n. What is here? It is A is minus 3. If you compare, A is minus 3. So it is minus 3 to the power n. So this is our Fn sequence for which this was the law of jet transformation. This was the jet transformation. Similarly, I have one more problem. Find inverse Z transform of Fz equal to 7Z minus 11Z square over Z minus 1, Z minus 2, Z plus 3. So what is the trick? We will take one Z in the denominator this side, or you can say divide by Z both the sides. This is the better statement. Divide by Z both the sides. So it will be 7 minus 11 z over z minus 1, z minus 2, z plus 3. Now you break the partial fraction of this factor. So it will be a over z minus 1 plus b over z minus 2 plus c over z plus 3. If you break the partial fraction and find the value of ABC, it is equal to the value of A is 1, the value of B is minus 3, and the value of the C was 2 only. Now send Z in the right hand side, so it will become Z over Z minus 1 minus 3Z over Z minus 2 plus 2Z over Z plus 3. Take inverse Z transformation both the sides. So Z inverse of Fz equal to Z inverse of Z over Z minus 1 minus Z inverse of 3Z over Z minus 2 plus Z inverse of 2Z over Z plus 3. Now you can take constant outside. So Fn will be 1 minus, you can see that this is the Z transformation of 1 to the power n. If you use this result only, A is 1 here and 1 to the power n will be 1 only. So it will become 1 minus 3 you can take outside, 2 to the power n plus 2 you can take outside, minus 3 to the power n. 3 and 2 you can take outside, and A will be 2 in this case, A will be minus 3 in this case. So this is the solution of this problem. Next problem we have, this is very important problem. Find Z inverse or inverse Z transform. I'm going to erase it. Find inverse Z transform of Fz equal to Z square over Z square plus 1. This is a very good problem and little bit difficult. So what is the trick? You have to divide by Z both the side. It will be Z over Z square plus 1. Problem is we do not have linear factors, real linear factors. We can break it in the complex factors, Z minus I, Z plus I. Now you break the partial fraction for this factor only. You can write A over Z plus I plus B over Z minus I. If you find the value of A and B, it is 1 by 2, 1 by 2. You can see that. So it will be 1 over Z plus I plus 1 over Z minus I. If you simplify it, you will get this circled function only by Z here. Now you send the Z in the right hand side, it will be 1 over 2 Z over Z plus I plus Z over Z minus I. Remember, I have written there, if you remember, Z transform of A to the power n was Z over Z minus A. If you remember this statement, then A can be any number. It can be real or complex. So you can compare here. In the first part, it is A is minus I. So minus I to the power n. In the second part, A is I. So it will be I to the power n. If you want, you can more simplify it. Take inverse Z transform. Take inverse Z transform. Both the sides. It will be Fn. Here A is minus I. Here is plus I. You can compare it. How we can more generalize it? Because we know that I is equal to cos pi by 2 plus sin pi by 2. If you use this result. Or you can write this is equal to e to the power I pi by 2. So what will be the I to the power n? I to the power n will be e to the power I n pi by 2. I n pi by 2. Similarly, what will be the minus I? Minus I is cos pi by 2 minus I sin pi by 2. So minus I can be written as e to the power minus I pi by 2. So minus I to the power n can be written as minus I n pi by 2. So if you use these values, here, your Fn is going to be very interesting. Then your Fn will be 1 over 2 e to the power minus I n pi by 2 plus e to the power I n pi by 2. Let n pi by 2 is theta. Then it is e to the power I theta minus I theta plus e to the power I theta. This is a very, very interesting formula. This is nothing else. It is cos theta. And we have supposed theta is n pi by 2. So the answer will be Fn sequence is your cos n pi by 2. Fn is your cos n pi by 2. So sequence is cos n pi by 2. This is very interesting problem. Let's see a next problem that is called shifting theorem or translation theorem. This is again most important property. Let Z transformation of Fn sequence is Fz valid in a region of convergence mod Z greater than 1 over R, and k is any positive integer I plus means positive integer. Remember, k cannot be negative. Then first result is shifting to the right. Z transformation of sequence f of n minus k is equal to z to the power minus k fz. What is fz is? Fz is z transformation of fn. This is called shifting to the right. And second result is z transformation of n plus k, it is equal to z to the power plus k fz minus sigma n equal to 0 to k minus 1 fn z to the power minus n. Or you can write z to the power k fz. If you expand sigma, it is f0 plus f1 by z plus f2 by z square up to fk minus 1 over z to the power k minus 1. So this is generalized form. This is called shifting to the left. Shifting to the left. So these are two translation or shifting theorems here. Let's see the proof of these important theorems, because proof is also important in your syllabus. First, and both the shiftings are valid in the same region. Valid in the same region of convergence mod z greater than 1 over R. So let's see the first proof. I told you the Z transformation of sequence Fn minus k is equal to z to the power minus k fz. So remember, I told you the Z transformation of Fn sequence is defined as sigma n equal to 0 to infinity Fn z to the power minus n. Now if you take the Z transformation of f of n minus k, it will become sigma n equal to 0 to infinity f of n minus k z of minus n. We are going to change here the sequence. Firstly the sequence was fn, now the sequence is fn minus k, and we suppose this is equal to fz only. We suppose fz is only. Now if you see carefully, I told you the definition of Z transformation. Fn is defined as it is equal to Fn only when n is 0, 1, 2 and so on. When n is less than 0, remember this is very important now. When n is less than 0, the value of Fn I am supposing 0. So if you put here the values 0 up to k, 0, 1, 2, 3 up to k, before k up to k minus, actually k minus 1, you will get all the values are 0. So I am taking as, suppose you put the value, then you will get, if u n equal to 0, then f of minus k z to the power 0. plus if you put n equal to 1, then it will be 1 minus k upon z plus f of 2 minus k upon z square, and we don't know the value of k here. So when z equal to k, when n equal to k, sorry, n equal to k, you will get f0 over z to the power minus k. When n equal to k you put, plus f1 over z to the power minus k plus 1 when you put n equal to k plus 1, and so on. So these terms are going to be 0. From this term onwards, your sequence will be valid. So I'm not going to confuse this much to you. Think wisely. If you put n equal to k, then only f0 will come, and the z transform is valid for f0 onwards. So make f0, you have to put n equal to k. So replace n equal to k, because k onwards this is valid. K onwards this is valid, and before k the value of f sequence is 0. So that is not that is meaningless here. So it will be f of n minus k, z of minus n. Now we want to make the similar term here. So multiply with z to the power minus k and z to the power plus k. Now we can take z to the power minus k outside, because n is varying, not k is varying, n is varying. And inside you can write n equal to k to infinity f of n minus k z to the power minus n minus k. So it will be minus plus k, and it will be adjusted with z to the power minus k. Why we are taking from z n equal to k? Because before k, before n equal to k, the value of sequence term is 0. Okay. Now let n minus k is equal to m. So it will be z to the power minus k, m equal to 0 to infinity, because n equal to k, it means n minus k equal to 0, so m equal to 0. Because n equal to k, so n minus k will be 0, so m equal to 0 to infinity, fm z to the power minus m. This is the definition of z transformation. This is the definition of z transformation. It is not compulsory. You can change the variable like integration. It can be written as p equal to 0 to infinity fpz to the power minus p. It will be again fz. It is not going to be changed. You can change the variable, but inside function will be changed accordingly. Limit will not change. Limit will be from 0 to infinity only. Limit will be 0 to infinity only. You can change the parameter. So here I can change the parameter with m only. So you will get it is equal to, this is equal to z transformation of fn minus k is equal to z to the power minus k fz. It is very simple proof. Now see the second proof. Z transformation of n plus k. It will be sigma, similar definition, n equal to 0 to infinity f of n plus k z to the power minus k. Now the problem is, it is starting from k onwards. When n equal to 0, you have k. But this term is z to the power minus n, sorry. But this term is not adjusting here. So we have to multiply with minus k and plus k. Now, so we can make this term, this suffix and the power object same. Our aim is make to this suffix and power object should be same. This suffix and power object should be same. So we can take z to the power k outside. It will be sigma n equal to 0 to infinity f of n plus k z to the power minus n plus k. You can see that minus k, minus plus minus k, it will be adjusted with z to the power k. Again let n plus k equal to m. Let, so your sigma is going to be changed. Why? Because n is starting from 0. So when n equal to 0, m will be k only. And when n equal to infinity, m will be infinity. It is fm z to the power minus m. Here in the frame of z transformation, only problem is limit. Because z transformation of fm sequence is equal to sigma m equal to 0 to infinity z to the power minus m fm. But the problem is here, m is starting from k onwards. So what we have to do? We have to start from 0 onwards. For starting 0 onwards, we have to subtract the term. Which term? 0 to k minus 1. Fm z to the power minus m. So if you expand this 0 to k minus 1 term, these term will be cancelled out with this factor, and from k onwards you will get the same expression. So what we had did, we have added this term and subtracted this term, and added term is adjusted here with k 0 to infinity. If you want, I can expand in one more way. Okay, write k here only, and add this term similarly, plus sigma m equal to 0 to k, m equal to 0 to k minus 1, 0 minus 1, fm z to the power minus m. We have added and subtracted this term. Now merge these two terms, k and 0 to k minus 1. So it is 0 to k minus 1 and from k to infinity. So a to b and b to c. So it will be a to c only. Okay. K minus 1. Then again next number will be k, because you have discrete data 0, 1, 2, 3, k minus 1, k plus 1. So up to k minus 1 this term is giving you, and k onwards you will get from this term. So if you add these two terms, your function will look like now the z transformation of fn plus k is equal to z to the power k sigma m equal to 0 to infinity fm z to the power minus m sigma m equal to 0 to infinity fm, m 0 to k minus 1. Remember, this is 0 to k minus 1, z to the power minus m. It is fz only. It is a z transformation of fm sequence or fn sequence, meaning the same, because you can change the parameter. Here you can also change the parameter. You can write 0 to infinity only, fn z to the power minus n. Here m and n are not related with the previous formula. This substitution is only dummy substitution. It will work for only one step. Or you can write m equal to 0 to, sorry, again I am writing k minus 1. This is k minus 1. Don't be confused. K minus 1. So if you want, you can expand it. N equal to 0, f0 plus n equal to 1, f1 over z plus f2 over z square plus fk minus 1 over z to the power k minus 1. If you are not interested, you can keep in m also. There will be no problem. So this is the left side theorem. So important result is learn these formulas. This is very important formula. Let's see some problem based on these shifting theorems. Find z transformation of 1 over n plus p factorial for p equal to 1 to 3. Let's see the solution. We know that the z transformation of 1 over n factorial, you can see my part 1 lecture, it is e to the power 1 over z. Or if you want, you can suppose this in your fn sequence, sorry, it is equal to fz only. So what is your fn here? Fn is 1 over factorial n, and what is your fz here? Fz is e to the power 1 over z. Now if you want z transformation of 1 over n plus p factorial, you have to use this shifting theorem, plus k, and you are using plus p. So up to p you have to go. So if you use this result in p, use p in place of k, it will be z to the power p fz minus f naught plus f1 over z plus f2 over z square plus fp minus 1 over z to the power p minus 1. This will be the formula. Now put p equal to 1. For p equal to 1, z transformation of 1 over n plus 1 factorial will be z to the power 1 fz minus, if you put p equal to 1, it will be f0 only. See the last term only, beta. If you see the last term, it will give you idea up to which term we have to go. You have to go only f0. So it will be f0. Because if p equal to 1, you will get f0 over 1 only. Now put the value, fz is e to the power 1 by z. What will be the f0? If fn is 1 over factorial n, then your f0 will be 1 over 0 factorial is 1. So this will be the first result. Okay. Now if you see the second part, put p equal to 2. So it will be the z over n plus 2 factorial is equal to z square fz minus f naught plus f1 over z. Up to this term we have to go. Because if you put p equal to 2 here, then it will give you f1 over z. So we have to go up to f1 over z. Fz is e to the power 1 by z. F0 is 1. What about f1? If you see the f1, fn is this one. So f1 will be 1 over 1 factorial. So it will be again 1. So 1 over z. Or you can write z square e to the power 1 by z minus 1 over z. If you put p equal to 3, you will get z transformation of n plus 3 factorial. I'm not going to solution. You can simplify it. It will be z cube e to the power 1 by z minus 1 upon z minus 1 upon 2z square. I am giving you some homework also here. Find z transformation of n minus 2 factorial, comma z transformation of 1 over n minus 1 factorial, right shifting theorem. Second is use the z transformation of cos n plus 1 theta. We know the z transformation of cos n theta. You use plus 1, yeah, it means k equal to 1. Use the left shifting theorem. Then use the result of fn plus 1. Because you are replacing n by n plus 1. And you know the result of n plus k. If you put k equal to 1, you will get this result. Similarly, you find the z transformation of sine n plus 1 theta using the same theorem. Z transformation of e to the power n plus 2. Z transformation of e to the power n minus 2. So these are the exercise for you. And this is a very easy topic. So I will suggest to all of you, keep learning together with me. And don't let your work pending. If you are reading with me, you can take 2 days at least after complete your lecture within 2 days when I upload it in YouTube. So you will better understand. Okay, thank you.